Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Jujutsu Kaisen. Gojo family swordsmith refuses to be cut in half. Chapter 71. Watching Gojo Ming close his eyes and follow him forward, a trace of gentleness flashed through Zenin's lackluster eyes. He didn't know why Gojo Ming trusted him so much. This time, not only did he follow him to Zenin's house, but even Six Eyes was closed at this moment. During this period of getting along, Zenin can confirm that there is no difference between Gojo Ming's pair of heavenly eyes and Gojo Satoru's pair of six eyes. The only difference between the two is that one has a lot of magic power and the other has zero magic power. Therefore, Gojo Naru's six eyes is as powerful as Gojo Satoru's six eyes in terms of information processing. At this moment, Gojo Ming closed six eyes, expressing his complete trust in himself. In Zenin's life, this is really the first time he has met such a person. Gojo Naru trusts others too easily, right? Zenin blew out a smoke ring and stretched, his lazy eyes suddenly became sharp. Every plant and tree around him was under the vigilance of his eyes. Gojo Ming chose to believe in himself, so he should not betray Gojo Ming's trust. On the other side, although he was following Zenin in action, Gojo Ming was thinking about future plans. The forging of the Zanpakuto cannot be stopped no matter what. This is his current foundation in this world. If he wants to improve his Zanpakuto proficiency as quickly as possible, lending his Zanpakuto to gain experience is the fastest way. However, I can't just rely on the Zanpakuto, nor can I just rely on the skills extracted from the Zanpakuto's swastika. This kind of thing is too random. When opening a blind box, you must keep your hopes to a minimum. Only in this way can you get unexpected surprises when you open something beyond your expectations. Gojo Ming has always had such a plan in his heart, that is, to rebuild a force outside the Gojo family. In this way, when you want to do something in the future, you won't have to be restricted by the Gojo family. What I said to Gojo Satoru before was all from my heart. Gojo's house is just a toy to him and Gojo Satoru. If he wasn't responsible for the Gojo family, he and Satoru might be able to have a much easier time in the future. However, he also knew that although Gojo Satoru had an out-of-touch personality and was verbally troublesome, he was not the kind of person who was unwilling to take responsibility. After taking care of the Gojo family for so many years, Gojo Satoru will definitely want to maintain the reputation of the Gojo family. Unlike me, to be honest, I really don't feel a sense of belonging to the Gojo family. The only thing that can give him any motivation is the Gojo family's inheritance rights. Although it has been partly caused by myself before, the resources inside are still very sufficient. After all, the database of big three sorcerer families cannot be compared with that of other small businesses. Janur promised before that after getting the Zanpakuto, he would help me work. Now at my age, it seems a bit too conspicuous for me to establish a force outside. Close black lens bracket. How about I ask Sheer to help me build a master house? In this way, even if you leave Gojo's house or Zenin's house in the future, everyone can still have a stronghold. Close black lens bracket. Isn't it reasonable to have such a store in every world? Urahara store or master house? Comparing these two names, Master House is definitely more suitable for this world. After all, it is impossible for Urahara store manager to appear in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. Close black lens bracket. Moreover, in the future, I might join Jujutsu High School together with Gojo Satoru. By then, this guy Gigi will have to find something to do for him. Otherwise, if this guy goes gambling on boats or becomes a killer on a whim, wouldn't he be back to the original world line? Well, let Sheer be the store manager of Wanshiwu. I will be the boss behind Wanshiwu. Making up his mind, Gojo Ming suddenly opened his eyes. The blue eyes of the sky focused on Zenin's back, causing Zenin's burly body to tremble subconsciously. At that moment, Zenin felt a chill all over his body, as if he was being targeted by something bad. He subconsciously turned his head to look at Gojo Ming, feeling the flash of evil smile in Gojo Ming's six eyes, and his brows suddenly frowned. In his mind, Gojo Ming is not a simple guy. That look just now, well, always made him feel that Gojo Ming was planning something wrong. However, it was hard for him to ask anything now. Because, the Zenin family's mansion has arrived, and a group of Zenin family servants are greeting Gojo Ming at the door. The representative of the Zenin family, Zenin's direct neighbor, was also among them. His burly body and kind smile really made people feel a little inconsistent. Meanwhile, Gojo's house. Gojo Satoru was very dissatisfied with Gojo Ming being attacked by the cursed spirit. He didn't expect that cursed spirit would appear near the Gojo family's mansion. The most critical thing is that this cursed spirit actually possesses the body of a child of the Gojo family. Who is it? This cursed spirit is targeting Ming. Gojo Satoru's 6 eyes constantly patrolled around the family, but unfortunately, no suspicious person was found. Next to him, Gojo's face suddenly sank like water. Master Wu, this is not an attack by cursed spirit on Master Ming. It should be an attack by curse user. Kotetsu was injured by a special cursed object. We must apply to the head of the family and ask for help in cleaning up the cursed object from Kotetsu's body. Only in this way can we find corresponding clues from the cursed object to determine who is targeting Master Ming. Gojo Shunichi gives advice to Gojo Satoru based on his own experience. Gojo Satoru also closed his eyes, gave up exploring the surroundings, and quickly ran towards the head of the house's room with Gojo Shunichi. I will send someone to ask Ieri Anemitsu-sama, and keep Kotetsu's body first. I want to see which curse user dares to attack the Gojo family like this. The old man was furious, and his whole body was like an old lion, his power still lingering. After Gojo Ming forged Senbon Sakura, the old man already agreed that Gojo Ming would be the key to the prosperity of the Gojo family in the future. Gojo Ming and Gojo Satoru have been equated in importance to the Gojo family. This act of directly using the cursed spirit to assassinate the heir of the Gojo family was extremely bad in the eyes of the old man. The dark net has been rectified and has become much more restrained now. Unexpectedly, curse user has also targeted Ming. Sure enough, does the special cursed tool like Zanpakuto also make curse users feel threatened? The old man's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was a glint in his eyes that was not for his age. Although his time in this world is short, the Gojo family is not yet ready for anyone to bully them at will. Satoru, I heard that Ming and Zenin went to Zenin's house. After sending someone to inform Ieri Anemitsu, the old man's attention turned to Gojo Ming's whereabouts. Gojo Satoru nodded. The materials for my Senbon Sakura come from the Zenin family. Naru also wants to go to the Zenin family to see the collection in their vault. Moreover, Ming also agreed to help Sheer forge a Zanpakuto. After listening to Gojo Satoru's words, the old man nodded slightly and glanced around Gojo Satoru and Gojo Shunyi. It seems that Ming agrees with Zenin Sheer very much. After you have been together for a period of time, what kind of person does Zenin Sheer feel like? The old man's eyes stayed on Gojo Shunichi. Gojo Ming and Gojo Satoru are still young. Although they have 6 eyes and observe things very carefully, he still wants to hear what the more experienced Gojo Shunichi thinks. Strong. This Zenin is really strong. Gojo Shunyi's answer surprised the old man. He had thought that Gojo Shunyi could talk about Zenin's character and purpose. However, he never thought that Gojo would say so bluntly that Zenin was very strong. Gojo Shunichi is already a first-level Jujutsu master at this time, and is considered the top combat power in the entire Jujutsu world. How could such a person praise Zenin like this? Isn't Zenin the bearer of heavenly restriction? He has no magical power, but he makes you feel strong, Shunyi. Because there has never been a carrier of heavenly restriction with 0 magic power before, so in the records of the Gojo family, the old man has never known a strong person of heavenly restriction. The old man never understood Zenin's strength. Facing the old man's doubts, Gojo nodded seriously. Zenin Sheer is really strong, if there is a real life and death fight. Even if I first solve the Zanpakuto Kiyomizu, I am no match for Zenin Sheer. And I will die completely. Gojo Shunyi's words completely shocked the old man. He had thought that Zenin was stronger than Gojo Shunyi, but he did not expect that Gojo Shunyi would admit defeat so completely. Sir, I really can't tell whether heavenly restriction is a curse or a blessing. However, I have to admire Master Ming's vision of seeing people. Zenin can be said to be the most potential target of the Zenin family. If the Zenin family does not pay attention to such a person, it will only be a loss to the Zenin family. Currently, the friendship between Master Ming and Zenin Sheer has become very strong. This time, the cursed spirit that suffered from Huche's flesh was directly killed by Zenin Shear's punch. The ability to instantly kill a level 1 cursed spirit, the terror of this Zenin is evident. Gojo's immediate words made the old man fall into deep thought. For the first time, he realized that even without the power of the spell, there were still people who were so powerful. While the old man was deep in thought, Gojo Satoru added, Ming seems to care a lot about Zenin. I think it's not just the two of them who have heavenly restriction. Ming seems to know Zenin better than Zenin himself. Ning, Shunyi, I have been learning taijutsu from Shear for the past 2 days, and the improvement has been huge. Moreover, Shear seems to have agreed to Ming's request in exchange for the forging of a Zanpakuto. For Naru, the Zanpakuto is undoubtedly the most important asset. However, he is willing to use this in exchange for Shear's request to gain Shear's friendship. Obviously, before meeting Zenin Shear, Ming already knew how powerful Zenin Shear was. Moreover, the experience that happened to Zenin Shear can also be reproduced by a Ming, who also has heavenly restriction and has 0 spell power. Gojo Satoru's addition made the old man close his eyes and begin to rethink his relationship with the Zenin family. Zenin is so powerful. If Gojo Ming learns how to control heavenly restriction from Zenin, will Gojo Ming have a second trump card besides Zanpakuto? At this moment, except for Shear and Gojo Ming, no one else knows the true effect of heavenly restriction. However, heavenly restriction is no longer just curse in the eyes of the senior management of the Gojo family. Before, the old man felt sorry that Gojo Ming had no magic power. Now, Gojo Ming has heavenly restriction, which seems to be more powerful than having magic power. Does God want Naru to be the head of the Gojo family? Close black lens bracket. The old man opened his eyes and glanced at Gojo Satoru. After a moment, he turned to look at Gojo Shunichi and said softly, Satoru, Shunichi. Gojo Satoru and Gojo Shun nodded in unison, waiting for the old man's instructions. You are the only 2 people who currently possess Zanpakuto, which also shows Naru's trust in you. You have experienced the power of the Zanpakuto for yourselves, there is no doubt about it. However, there will definitely be many people who covet this power. Not only Jujutsu masters, but also curse users and even cursed spirits will covet the Zanpakuto. Satoru, before you become the strongest Jujutsu master. Before Naru shows absolute power, there will be endless attacks on Naru. So, Satoru, you must work harder to learn and improve your unlimited skills. Shunyi, you must continue to improve your swordsmanship and techniques. Naru is the hope for the future of the Gojo family. We can't always count on Zenin to protect Naru. After all, his surname is Zenin, not Gojo. The only ones Ming can really trust are you 2. The old man took this opportunity to play Gojo Satoru and Gojo Shunichi again. Although Gojo Satoru has always said that he does not care at all about the position of the head of the family, the position that originally belonged to him is now given to his younger brother. The old man didn't know what kind of thoughts would appear in Gojo Satoru's heart. Therefore, we must seize every opportunity to let Gojo Satoru clarify his heart, and at the same time, strengthen the brotherly relationship between them. Master, please rest assured. I will protect Ming's safety. There was a flash of determination in Gojo Satoru's 6 eyes. Gojo Shunichi nodded equally firmly, he had the same idea as the old man. Gojo Shangyan's power is just a temporary performance. The future of the Gojo family really depends on Master Gojo Ming. As long as there is no conflict between Master Gojo Satoru and Master Gojo Ming, the Gojo family will not have any unstable status in the next 50 years. 2 six-eyes gods and 2 pairs of pupils of the sky are enough to keep the Gojo family in an invincible position for a long time. What he has to do now is to use all his efforts to eliminate all things that can threaten the growth of Gojo Ming and Gojo Satoru. He, Gojo, used his own life to defend the glory of the Gojo family. The news that Gojo Ming went to Zenin's house to find materials for forging Zanpakuto quickly spread throughout Gojo's house. Ever since Gojo Satoru's Senbon Sakura blossomed in the mansion, many members of the Gojo family have become fans of Gojo Ming. Anyone with a bit of common sense realizes the potential of something like a Zanpakuto. The previous dissatisfaction with Gojo Ming for wasting the cursed tool now turned into a panic about Gojo Ming going to other families. Why did Master Ming go to the Zenin family? Doesn't he know that the Zenin family and our family have never dealt with each other? What kind of materials do we not have at Gojo's house? Why go to Zenin's house to find materials? Others don't know, and they think that Gojo's house has declined to the point where cursed tool is gone. Master Ming wants to forge a Zanpakuto for the Zenin family, right? I've heard before that a member of the Zenin family is very close to Master Ming. Could it be that Master Ming was deceived by him? The Zanpakuto is exclusive to the Gojo family and cannot be passed on casually. Master Ming must not let it go unnoticed. Although only 3 Zanpakuto have been produced so far, all 3 are in the Gojo family. Moreover, the forger is the 6-eyes son of the Gojo family, so many Gojo family members have regarded the Zanpakuto as a taboo of the Gojo family. As the forger, Gojo Ming seems to have no right to distribute Zanpakuto among the public opinion of the Gojo family. Now because Gojo Ming visited Zenin's house, Gojo's family became a little anxious and began to emphasize the heritage of Gojo's family. However, before Gojo Shunichi Chingmushi was exposed, and before Gojo Satoru's Senbon Sakura began to be solved, this group of Gojo family members still had many doubts about Gojo Ming's forging. In just a few days, the trend of the entire family has changed dramatically. It can only be said that people's hearts are too fickle. Gojo Ming has already seen through this kind of thing, so he will not change anything because of the change in public opinion of the Gojo family. However, as the leader of the Gemini Curse faction, Gojo Shongyan, at this moment, he was completely troubled by Gojo Ming's visit to Zenin's house. On the other side, the Cursed Tool Blacksmiths Association. The proposal regarding whether Gojo Ming needs to be included in the association has once again been brought to the table. This matter has been discussed privately by many association members before. However, this time, the discussion was on the table. The person who initiated the proposal this time was Gojo Zui, the cursed tool master of the Gojo family. Previously, Gojo Zui seemed out of place with others in the Cursed Tool Blacksmith Association, and was known as the enemy of masters and craftsmen. However, now that he has taught Gojo Ming, he has entered a completely different status. Everyone no longer dares to think that Gojo Zui is the enemy of master craftsmen. At the same time, they all believe that Gojo Zui and his apprentice Gojo Ming will be the subverters of the old cursed tool system. I think Gojo Ming is too young. He became a member of the Cursed Tool Blacksmith Association at the age of 6. If this gets out, others will think we are irregular, right? Gojo Ming has forged 3 Zanpakuto, and should be qualified to join the Cursed Tool Blacksmith. It is precisely because our association has gathered many capable blacksmiths that it will be recognized as professional by the Jujutsu master. If Ming is not included in the association, then people will question our professionalism, right? I also think Gojo Naru should join the association. No, Gojo Ming only forged 3 Zanpakuto, and the other cursed tool forging abilities have not been demonstrated at all. He should not be allowed in. Yes, I think so too. Is this Zanpakuto really a cursed tool? I don't think so. I learned during the investigation of Kingming that this Zanpakuto seems to have its own consciousness. I think this Zanpakuto should be considered a cursed object. Cursed object? Are you saying that 6-year-old Gojo Naru can artificially create cursed objects? If this is true, then these 3 Zanpakuto should all be considered special grade cursed objects. Do you think it is possible? This is just a hypothesis. The entire Cursed Tool Blacksmiths Association was mired in controversy, but Kamo Gen, the president of the association, remained silent. It seemed that, in his opinion, there was no need to discuss this matter at all. It only takes a few more days for everything to turn out. He has confidence in the special cursed object. The burning phase will help him achieve his goal, and Lord Kamo Shanlin's power will help him maintain the momentum of the entire Kamo family. Zenin's house, VIP room. Although Gojo Ming's ultimate goal is to help Zenin choose a suitable cursed tool for the forging of Zanpakuto. However, since the Zenin family representative has already come forward, it would be too rude for him to ignore it at all. Therefore, he still chose to participate in this somewhat time-wasting exchange. However, this kind of thing is a bit boring for Zenin. If his eldest brother Zenin hadn't pulled him away, he would have even planned to sleep in the VIP room. While Zenin was communicating with Gojo Ming about Zanpakuto-related matters, Zenin Shinsuke, who was practicing on the side, heard the news that Gojo Ming had arrived at Zenin's house. In an instant, the magic power in Zenin Shinsuke's body began to lose control. The name Gojo Ming still casts a shadow on him now. Although he really wanted a Zanpakuto, he hoped that Gojo Ming would be humiliated at Zenin's house. He also hoped that Gojo Ming would suffer the same humiliation as before at Zenin's house. Before, this guy Zenin took the cursed tool from the family's treasure chest to help Gojo Ming forge the Zanpakuto. This time Gojo Ming came to Zenin's house, his goal should still be to avoid Curry's cursed tool. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming must not be allowed to succeed. Close black lens bracket. Zenin Shinsuke is worthy of being the unicorn of this generation of the Zenin family. But through some incidents and details, he has already guessed Gojo Ming's true purpose this time. Old hatreds welled up in his heart. This time, Gojo Ming came to his home court. How could he let him get his wish? Let's go to the VIP room. Zenin Shinsuke threw down his bamboo sword and ran directly towards the VIP room without changing into his kendo uniform. Lord Jiben, slap your lord. The servant on the side suddenly walked in and whispered next to the two of them. The man next to him frowned slightly, while Zenin raised the corner of his mouth slightly. The two stood up and nodded to Gojo Ming to apologize. There is a little something that needs to be taken care of here, please take a short rest. After Zenin finished speaking, he and Zenin went out together and walked into another conference room. Uncle Zebiran, Uncle Sean, you must never give the contents of the treasury to Gojo Ming again. The moment Zenin Shinsuke saw the two elders entering the door, he put forward his demands straight to the point. Zenin Naohito frowned. He is the current representative of the Zenin family and has the right to decide family affairs. Is Zenin Shinsuke out of his mind today? Do you have to go crazy while communicating with Gojo? Uncle Naohito, Zanpakuto is definitely not that easy to forge. Without our family's cursed tool, Gojo Ming would never have been able to forge the remaining Zanpakuto. If Gojo Ming had only forged those two Zanpakutos, then his reputation would not be that great. However, if we continue to help him improve his reputation, then the reputation of the Zenin family will always be surpassed by the Gojo family. Quote, Uncle Naohito, please don't be blinded by the power of the Zanpakuto. Personal interests must never override the interests of the family. Compared with Zanpakuto, I think killing a potential Zanpakuto forger so that he has no chance to continue to forge Zanpakuto and continue to increase the power of the Gojo family is our best choice. A trace of sternness appeared on Zenin Shinsuke's face. He feels from the bottom of his heart that Gojo Ming is a threat. If he is allowed to live, Gojo Ming may even become a greater threat than the real six-eyes god son Gojo Satoru. Shinsuke, what are you thinking about? Do you want the Gojo family and the Zenin family to officially start a war? A trace of anger appeared on Zenin's face. He naturally knew that when Gojo Ming grew up, he would help the Gojo family suppress the Zenin family. However, Zenin Shinsuke's words completely ignored the interests of the family. During this period of time, the Zenin family not only cannot harm Gojo Ming, but also must protect Gojo Ming and prevent him from causing trouble at the Zenin family. This is an unspoken rule stipulated among Jujutsu master families. Zenin Shinsuke's malice towards Gojo Naru is too deep, which will affect the relationship between the Gojo family and the Zenin family. Zenin opened his mouth to scold Zenin Shinsuke, but Zenin fan beside him smiled sinisterly. Nobi, Shinsuke's intention is not to harm Gojo Ming. Gojo Ming is a useless person without magic power. Even if he grows up, he will not pose any threat. The real threat is Gojo Ming's Zanpakuto. As long as Gojo Ming continues to forge his Zanpakuto, his reputation will definitely grow higher and higher. And the Gojo family is bound to Gojo Ming, so the Gojo family's status will definitely increase. If we want Gojo Ming to stop growing, we at Zenin just need to stop providing Gojo Ming with the cursed tool that can be used to forge a Zanpakuto. Zenin glanced at his brother, suppressed his dissatisfaction with his role as the family representative, and shared the information he had investigated from the Gojo family. There is no longer a cursed tool in the Gojo family's library that would allow Gojo Ming to forge a new Zanpakuto. Therefore, the material for the previous Sakura Zanpakuto came from the cursed tool that Jinji brought over. Acting Sama, you should know the origin of Shear's cursed tool, right? This is the cursed tool belonging to the Zenin family, so the forged Zanpakuto should belong to the Zenin family. But that Zanpakuto has become Gojo Satoru's weapon, so what did our Zenin family gain by providing the materials? I don't know what kind of agreement you made with Zenin Shear before. However, judging from the results, the Zenin family did not gain any benefits. Instead, it helped the Six Eyes godson of the Gojo family to grow again. Zenin sighed. To put it mildly, this kind of thing is a careless decision. To put it harshly, it is scheming to the enemy. Although the Zenin family and the Gojo family both belong to the big three sorcerer families, acting Sama, you don't think that the Gojo family and the Zenin family will really live in harmony, right? Throughout this long history, although the big three sorcerer families have remained standing, there has been a lot of friction between them. Rather than saying that the big three sorcerer families are Jujutsu division partners, they regard each other as rivals. Zenin was stunned by Zenin's rhetoric. His hostility towards the Gojo family was not as high as that of Zenin and Zenin Shinsuke. He still hopes that through peaceful means, Gojo Ming can forge a Zanpakuto for Zenin, so that the Zenin family can analyze the composition of the Zanpakuto. However, Zenin's feedback and Gojo Ming's impeccable response made him somewhat unclear about Gojo Ming's next arrangements. The Zenin people want to firm up their opinions, but although he now has the reputation of being the representative, he is still constrained by the Zenin fan. When it comes to deciding the direction of the family, if Zenin doesn't support him, he will have to make certain compromises. What do you think about that slap? However, the Zenin family cannot be disadvantageous to Gojo Ming. This is the bottom line. Zenin glanced around with an ugly expression. Although there were only 3 of them in the conference room, for the first time, he felt what it meant to be alone. Zenin smiled sinisterly. I suggest not to let Gojo Ming enter the Forbidden Library. The Zenin family will no longer provide cursed tool materials for Gojo Ming. Zenin fan made his request. Uncle Nabi, my request is to fight Gojo Ming again. I want to use this battle to wash away my previous shame. The last time was just because I faced the Zanpakuto for the first time, so I was careless. This time, I will prove to you that the Zanpakuto is not that strong. Uncle Naohito, you have never seen the Zanpakuto's technique. Everything is just hearsay. This time, let me continue to let my nephew show you the technique of this Zanpakuto, Gojo. Zenin Shinsuke's expression was a little ferocious. Ever since he came back from Gojo's house last time, he had been affected by that battle for a long time. Soda Shirayuki's freezing has almost become Zenin Shinsuke's nightmare. However, as the Kiriner of the Zenin family, he is also extremely talented in fighting and jujutsu. This period of kendo study also allowed him to make breakthroughs in kendo. He had already found a way to break through Soda Shirayuki. As long as he can survive Soda Shirayuki's spell, then there is no way Gojo Ming, a loser with no magic power at all, can be his opponent. Listening to the appeals of the 2 people, Zenin nodded and expressed his understanding with a stern face. He knew that this conversation with Gojo Ming would not produce good results. However, under the collision of the demands of Zenin fan and Zenin Shinsuke, he found a compromise point that seemed to be able to balance the overall situation. However, this balance point cannot be shifted by one's own will. This point also requires the cooperation of Gojo Ming. I wonder if Gojo Naru, the son of Six Eyes God, will be willing to accept his proposal. Zenin's face was as dark as water, and he was secretly preparing to start a gambling fight with Gojo Ming with the help of Shinsuke's appeal. Take one of Jiku's cursed tools as a bet. If Gojo Narumi's Soda Shirayuki really loses to Zenin Shinsuke, then he will satisfy both the demands of Zenin fan and Zenin Shinsuke and no longer support Gojo Narumi's cursed tool material. After all, losing to Zenin Shinsuke meant that the Zanpakuto's ability was not as powerful as he imagined. If Gojo Ming wins in the end and shows how powerful the Zanpakuto is, then, the Zenin family just gave Gojo Ming a cursed tool according to the original plan. Your plans will be back on track. Moreover, in my opinion, Gojo Ming's current relationship with Zenin Shear is irreversible. Even if the cursed tool is provided, Gojo Ming will still spend it on Zenin Shear. In this way, it means that no matter whether they win or lose, it will be beneficial to the Zenin family. This was his plan, but he didn't know whether Gojo Ming would agree to it. After all, as a visitor to the Gojo family, it seemed normal for Gojo Naru to refuse such an unreasonable proposal. Whether this gamble that can balance the situation can be established depends entirely on the importance Gojo Ming attaches to Cursed Tool. Zenin shook his head, stood up, and prepared to enter the VIP room with Zenin Fan and Zenin Shinsuke. On the other side, the VIP room. Seeing Zenin's direct guests leaving the VIP room, Gojo Ming had already guessed that this trip to Zenin's house would be troubled. Because, when Zenin Shinsuke arrived, his 6 eyes had already noticed it. He would not think that Zenin Shinsuke was here at this moment to express his support for him. After all, there was no way that the young and energetic Keelaner of the Zenin family could come out of the last defeat so magnanimously. Sheer, does it feel like your Zanpakuto's birth has had twists and turns again? There was a hint of amusement in Gojo Ming's 6 eyes. He was still a little curious about what the Zenin family would do. The Zenin family doesn't really think that they can control themselves just by relying on some cursed tools in the library, right? Although many cursed tool materials are somewhat rare, Gojo Ming has confirmed that the Zanpakuto and cursed tool materials are not bound one by one. As long as the materials contain the characteristics of the Zanpakuto, there is a chance of forging a Zanpakuto. However, the higher the quality of the cursed tool, the higher the forging efficiency, and the higher the level of development of the Zanpakuto after its success. Just like the Senbon Sakura in Gojo Satoru's hand. Gojo Satoru can complete the initial solution as soon as he gets it. First, there is a good match between Senbon Sakura and Gojo Satoru, and second, Gojo Satoru's own qualifications are good enough. Third, the quality of the cursed tool used to forge Senbon Sakura is high enough, so Senbon Sakura has been in an extremely active development state since its birth. If these 3 elements were not perfectly combined, no matter how well Gojo Satoru suited Senbon Sakura would not have been able to let Gojo Satoru know Hajime so quickly. If the Zenin family really disgusts me, then at most they will spend a little more time to find other similar cursed tools for you. Close black lens bracket. As long as the Zanpakuto is born, I believe that given Sheer's talent, no matter how low the level of development is, he will be able to slowly communicate with the Zanpakuto and complete the original solution. But it's just a matter of time. Close black lens bracket. With the strength of Shen'er Tian and Tyrant, he is actually not that eager to use the Zanpakuto to improve his strength. It seems good to give him a little more time to get used to it. Close black lens bracket. In an instant, countless thoughts went through Gojo Ming's mind. This is a sequelae of 6 eyes. The processing of information is too comprehensive. Just the arrival of Zenin Shinsuke, coupled with the expressions of Zenin Fan and Zenin Naobe, Gojo Naru has already speculated on a lot of possible information. Beside Gojo Ming, Zenin looked impatient. He originally didn't like this formal process, and now the Zenin family just threw Gojo Ming here and asked them to wait. This made him even more unhappy. Although he was accompanied by his elder brother Zenin, it was not that he looked down upon Zenin. This ferocious-looking brother of mine really has no qualifications to entertain Gojo Ming, the future heir of the Gojo family. I don't care. Zenin shrugged, glanced at Gojo Ming, and blew out a smoke ring. Anyway, Master Gojo Naru, you yourself promised me, I just need to wait for you to give me the Zanpakuto. Zenin touched the corner of his mouth, and a sense of anticipation suddenly arose in his heart. This kind of indifference and indifference from the Zenin family was something he had experienced since childhood. He also wants to know now, what kind of reaction will Gojo Ming give when faced with Zenin's condescending request? Will he be treated indifferently like himself and choose to ignore it? At this moment, he hoped that the top management of the Zenin family would be stupid and completely anger Gojo Ming. In this way, the future of the Zenin family may be more miserable. When Gojo Ming really grows up, he may be able to see the regretful expressions of the Zenin family's senior management. A smile of fun appeared on Zenin's face. This expression made Zenin and Gojo Ming a little stunned. What happened? Why do you feel that there have been some big changes in this month? Why are you smiling so much? Close black lens bracket. As Zenin Sheer's brother, Zenin has a relatively deep understanding of Sheer. He was certain that he had never seen such an expression on Zenin's face. Gojo Ming was surprised that Zenin was exuding a kind of heartfelt expectation at this time. He didn't know what Zenin was looking forward to, but he could realize that Zenin's expectations were born of him. The Zenin family is really full of freaks. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming shook his head. If compared with other anime worlds, he really felt that the Zenin family was very similar to the Uchiha clan in the Naruto world. The entire Zenin family seems to be full of morbid characters. Zenin, the tyrant who ignores his family and everything else, is incomparable. Zenin is so perverted that he blames his failure to become the head of the family on his twin daughters, and will kill his own daughter. In the future, Zenin Naoya worshipped and longed for Zenin, and even after his death, he was pulled into the death journey and became a cursed spirit Zenin Naoya. Zenin Mai has a conflicting personality but a good nature, and ultimately sacrifices herself in order to fulfill her sister. Zenin Maki, who witnessed the death of his sister and slaughtered everyone in the Zenin family. Thinking of so many complicated characters in the Zenin family, Gojo Ming suddenly felt a little hopeful about what the weirdos in the Zenin family would tell him next. The door of the VIP room was opened again, and Zenin and 3 people entered the VIP room. The moment he looked at Zenin Shinsuke, Gojo knew that what was coming next would be fun. Zenin's expression is exactly the same as Gojo's. Things get even more interesting. Naru-kun, for a while now, the most talked about thing in the entire Jujutsu world is your Zanpakuto. If I'm not mistaken, the one next to you is still the Soda Shirayuki from before, right? Can you let me have a look? I haven't had close contact with a special cursed tool like the Zanpakuto. As a strong man who practices swordsmanship, Zenin Shan also has expectations for good weapons. Although he didn't think that the Zanpakuto could really change the world of Jujutsu, he still wanted to experience Soda Shirayuki for himself. From Zenin fans' point of view, his request is not too excessive. After all, Gojo Ming wants to cooperate with the Zenin family. Without the cursed tool material provided by the Zenin family, it would be impossible for Zenin Ming to continue forging the Zanpakuto, right? Therefore, in this case, it is very reasonable for me to request to see Soda Shirayuki. It is reasonable for partners to review the quality of their products. Faced with Zenin fans' temporary appeal, Zenin fan did not speak and acquiesced to Zenin fan's request. He also hopes that after coming into contact with Soda Shirayuki, Zenin fan will change his previous views and choose to support him again. Zenin Shinsuke on the side had a cold expression. He not only had resentment in his heart towards Soda Shirayuki's extremely beautiful Zanpakuto, but at the same time, he also had a trace of greed. He also hopes that this Zanpakuto that danced in front of him will become his forbidden love. In his opinion, Gojo Ming, who has no magical power, is not worthy of using this beautiful Zanpakuto. If in his own hands, this sleeve Bai Shui will definitely be able to exert even greater strength. No one knows why Zenin Shinsuke has such strong self-confidence. If Gojo Ming knew about this kind of thing, he would definitely laugh. Sometimes, it is good to have confidence. If you are too confident, you will behave like a clown in the minds of others. Everyone's eyes were focused on Gojo Naru, and they all wanted to see Soda Shirayuki's style. After all, the last time Soda Shirayuki had just unsheathed him in a split second and killed Zenin Shinsuke instantly. Everyone who has seen that scene will remember Soda Shirayuki's stunning moment in their hearts. However, what shocked everyone was that there was a hint of indifference in Gojo Ming's 6 eyes. Want to take a look at my Soda Shirayuki? Are you worthy? He had never thought of treating the Zanpakuto as a cooperative product with the Zenin family. The Zenin family was at most a material supplier. Want to get your own Zanpakuto? The Zenin family is not qualified. Moreover, Gojo Ming was full of dissatisfaction with Zenin for slapping this scumbag. The person in front of him can even be said to be the person he despises the most in the Zenin family. Due to his lack of strength, he was defeated by the Zenin people in the competition among the family heads. But he attributed the reason for his failure to his daughters Mai and Maki. Because his daughter is not as talented as Zenin Naoya's son Zenin Naoya, such a scumbag who makes excuses to blame others for his own failures, how could Gojo Naru let him come into contact with the pure Soda Shirayuki? Even at this moment, when Zenin glanced at Soda Shirayuki, he felt that Soda Shirayuki had been tainted. Are you worthy? Gojo Ming's words echoed in the VIP room of Zenin's house. Such an answer was unexpected by most people. Among the people present, only Zenin was holding a cigarette and raising the corners of his mouth. What a surprise, what a surprise. Although I thought you would be dissatisfied, I never expected that you would not give the Zenin family any dignity at all. I like, close black lens bracket. Zenin looked at Gojo Ming with eyes full of appreciation. Gojo Ming's experience is very similar to his own, but his decisions on many things are different from his own. Zenin feels like he is looking at another world. The self in the other world line is not indifferent and ignores the family, but like Gojo Ming, he expresses his feelings directly and freely, and does not care about the family's opinion of him. This feeling seems very refreshing. For Zenin, in fact, he still has feelings for the Zenin family. He actually tried to get the Zenin family's approval. However, it is a pity that in the original world line, the Zenin family did not seem to care about him very much until he left the Zenin family. Now, because of Gojo Ming's intervention, Zenin's status in the Zenin family has undergone a completely new change. This situation was a new experience for Zenin, but it also made him feel that the Zenin family's recognition of him didn't seem to mean anything. He is a Zenin with an independent personality. What can the Zenin family's recognition of him bring to him? Before meeting Gojo Ming, this was just a kind of comfort that I pursued. However, after getting to know Gojo Ming, Gojo Satoru, and even Gojo Shunichi and Ieri Shoko, Zenin felt that he really had nothing to ask of the Zenin family. He felt that Gojo's words, "Are you worthy?" well, sounded very comfortable. However, unlike Zenin Shinsuke and Zenin's expressions were full of doubts. They wondered whether they heard wrongly. This is Zenin's house. Gojo Ming can be so rude. Zenin Fan is a well-known strong man in the entire Jujutsu world, and he is also a senior member of the Big Three Sorcerer family's Zenin family. Gojo Naru actually treats his elders who are also Big Three Sorcerer families like this. In the highly hierarchical world of Jujutsu, they never imagined that such a thing would happen. No matter how special Gojo Ming's status is in the Gojo family, such behavior seems a bit domineering. The smile on Zenin Shan's face, who was so bluntly rejected, had completely froze. Gojo Ming's response was something he never expected. When he made this request, he had considered that Gojo Naru was unwilling to show him the Zanpakuto. Therefore, when he had already thought about Gojo Ming's refusal, he used the Zenin family and Jiku to put pressure on Gojo Ming. Although, in the end, he still will not hand over the cursed tool in the Forbidden Library to Gojo Ming, but this does not prevent him from using the cursed tool in the Forbidden Library as a verbal bargaining chip to pressure Gojo Ming in exchange for close control of the Zanpakuto. Observe from a distance. But the moment Gojo Ming spoke, his entire plan was disrupted. Do you deserve it? This is a question I have never thought about. I am a being that the Jujutsu Masters Association wants to invite to manage the Jujutsu world, but in the eyes of Gojo Naru, I have become an unworthy being. Zenin Fan's heart was filled with anger, and the cold light in his sinister eyes could no longer be suppressed. In Zenin Fan's view, the correct process should be the Zenin family's rejection of Gojo Ming. Gojo Ming, who wanted something from the Zenin family, was in no position to refuse his request. The Zenin people on the other side saw that the situation had developed to this point and felt that everything was no longer under his control. After being rejected by Gojo Ming, he didn't have the opportunity to put forward his own ideas. He was also surprised that Gojo Ming refused to give Zenin face. After all, the three major families still did a good job of showing face to each other. Gojo Naru's character is so. You don't even care about the unspoken rules between the three major families. Gojo Naru, you don't think that just relying on a Zanpakuto really changes the fact that you can't use magic power and are a person who is not accepted by the Jujutsu world, do you? Zenin's aquiline nose trembled slightly as he forced himself to calm down. Since Gojo Ming is so arrogant, don't blame him for being ruthless in his words. Zanpakuto, this kind of thing has never been authenticated by anyone. It is just a magical cursed tool through some hype. It's just the first time everyone has seen something new, so it's just a bit of curiosity. Judging from your behavior of not daring to hand over your Zanpakuto to me, I'm afraid your Zanpakuto is just a showpiece and cannot withstand inspection at all. The so-called cursed tool forges new talents and forges a new cursed tool that subverts the cursed tool world. Is it just a hype gimmick by your Gojo family? Want to use the Zenin family's cursed tool to continue to maintain the false fact that you forged the Zanpakuto? I'm sorry, the Zenin family is not willing to cooperate with you. Zenin looked at Gojo Ming with an indifferent expression. Although he was a bit overstepping his authority, as the protagonist who had just been insulted by Gojo Ming, he made such a decision and he knew that the people in Naomi would not refute it. Sure enough, the Zenin people still chose to maintain the face of the top leaders of the Zenin family and expressed their acquiescence. Gojo Ming smiled and looked around. Sure enough, what Shi'er said was right, Zenin's house was filled with the smell of decay. A group of people who knew nothing dared to make demands on themselves in such a condescending manner. If the Gojo family becomes like this in the future, how embarrassing will it be for you? Whether Soda Shirayuki is true or false, Qingmong is true or false, there is no need to prove it. If you want to know the true power of Soda Shirayuki, ask Yagayu Shuji of the Yagayu family and ask your Zenin Shinsuke. Sure enough, the minds of the Zenin family are not normal, and they are no different from Zenin Shinsuke. Gojo Naru stood up and picked up Soda Shirayuki. However, a chill suddenly spread from Soda Shirayuki's body. This was not caused by Gojo Ming, but by Soda Shirayuki himself expressing his dissatisfaction. Each Zanpakuto has its own consciousness. At this moment, Gojo Ming saw a beautiful kimono woman in white standing in front of him, blocking him from leaving, expressing his dissatisfaction at being underestimated. At the same time, Zenin Shinsuke, who was pointed out by Gojo Ming, jumped up and retorted dissatisfied. You were just opportunistic and defeated me once with the help of an unknown technique. Do you think it will be useful the second time? You pretended to be a ghost, and the Zanpakuto was just an ordinary cursed tool, and you gave it such a boring name. Gojo Naru, if you have the ability, let's have another fight. I'll show you how powerful the Zenin family is. Your so-called Zanpakuto is not worth mentioning at all. Zenin Shinsuke issued a challenge invitation to Gojo Naru. However, Gojo Ming feels that such a battle is meaningless, and Soda Shirayuki does not need to fight his defeated general again. However, what surprised him was that the kimono woman transformed from Soda Shirayuki stood in front of him, her soft face expressing dissatisfaction with Zenin Shinsuke. After confirming that others could not see Soba Shirayuki's shadow, Gojo Ming also realized that Soba Shirayuki appeared in front of him because he did not want to be despised by the Zenin family. Soda Shirayuki, do you want to fight? Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming froze his figure and asked this sentence in his heart. Soda Shirayuki nodded. Gojo let out a breath, feeling a little complicated. He didn't expect Soda Shirayuki, who looked like Yamato Nadeshiko, to be so bellicose inside. Since Soda Shirayuki thinks so, let's satisfy Soda Shirayuki. Close black lens bracket. Just as Gojo Ming was about to respond, Zenin suddenly spoke. Shinsuke and Naru-kun, the competition between the two of you can be regarded as letting me see Soda Shirayuki's style. As the representative of the Zenin family, I can add a little bit of luck. Zenin pretended to be thoughtful for 2 seconds. Let's do this, Ming-kun. If you can win the competition, I will make the decision and let you pick out a cursed tool at Zenin's house and take it away. Zenin also felt Gojo's wavering when Gojo calmed down before, so he took the time to express his appeal. He originally thought that his idea could not be implemented, but unexpectedly, he found a suitable opportunity to propose it. Next, it depends on whether Gojo Ming is willing to cooperate. Hearing Zenin Naohito's words, Gojo Ming frowned, and swallowed the words that Zenin Shinsuke just wanted to say. Zenin's actions made him realize that there were differences among the top leaders of the Zenin family. Obviously, the Zenin people support the cooperation with them. The cursed tool that Zenin was able to bring back to forge Senbon Sakura was also authorized by the Zenin people. Now, when the Zenin family questions themselves, it should be Zenin Fan and Zenin Shinsuke's ideas. This bet is very beneficial to me. Anyway, at Soda Shirayuki's request, I will accept Zenin Shinsuke's challenge. Now I can get an extra cursed tool, wouldn't it be wonderful? However, Gojo Ming did not directly reveal his inner thoughts. Instead, he asked, what if I lose? Gojo Ming's rhetorical question was more like a show of timidity in the eyes of Zenin Shinsuke and Zenin Shan. In their opinion, if Gojo Naru was really confident about Zanpakuto Soda Shirayuki, how could he consider the consequences of failure before fighting? Ahem, if you lose. I need you to take back what you said before and apologize for the slap. Zenon's appeal is also very simple. After all, in the Zenon family, he cannot embarrass the six-eyes son of the Gojo family too much. Upon hearing this request, Gojo Ming frowned instantly, which made Zenon feel that Gojo Ming had no confidence. Some people cannot regard a coincidence as their ability. If you regard luck as your strength, you will fall miserably in the future. Zenon fan secretly taunted Gojo Ming in a weird way. He needed Gojo Ming's apology. He believed that Zenon Shinsuke could defeat Gojo Ming because he already knew Zenon Shinsuke's trump card. After hesitating for a moment, Gojo Ming spit out. You have to pay extra. 2 pieces. The bet is established. Zenon Shinsuke and Gojo Ming have arrived at Zenon's dojo. At this moment, Gojo Ming was in a very happy mood, and even gave Zenon a proud look. Before, he asked about the price of failure because he discovered that the Zenon family's demands for this battle were higher than his own. They didn't know that Soda Shirayuki also wanted them to participate in this battle, so they thought they could refuse. And all his previous actions were to make Zenon Shinsuke and Zenon fan mistakenly think that they did not want to fight, so as to successfully increase their bets. After all, he could already imagine that after this battle, it would be basically impossible for him to enter the Zenon family's forbidden vault. Therefore, he planned to take advantage of this opportunity to directly kill Zenon's Zanpakuto in one go. From now on, he would not be willing to come to Zenon's house, a poor place like this, if he was invited to come. After some pulling and pulling, the Zenon people agreed to the request for 2 cursed tools. Including the cursed tool I obtained from Sheer before, I got 3 cursed tools from Zenon's house for free. You can also take this opportunity to beat Zenon Shinsuke up again. Well, it really relieves your anger. Close black lens bracket. This old antique of the Zenon family, haha, just rotting in the Zenon family's treasure house. Gojo Ming and Zenon Shinsuke looked at each other in the dojo, and the 2 of them were the protagonists in the next battle. All around, Zenon, and Zenon were bystanders, all waiting patiently for the confrontation between the 2 people. Gojo Naru held Soda Shirayuki's hand, and he could feel the fighting spirit in Soda Shirayuki's heart. Soda Shirayuki wanted to teach Zenon Shinsuke a lesson. After experiencing the last battle with Zenon Shinsuke, Gojo Ming's understanding of Zenon Shinsuke has become much clearer. Although he is currently the strongest jujutsu master of the younger generation of the Zenon family, this status is not actually taken seriously by Gojo Ming. After all, the true strongest person of the Zenon family was standing next to him at this moment. He was Zenon Sheer, the man without magic power who was ignored by the Zenon family. In Gojo Ming's view, since he was able to defeat Zenon Shinsuke once, it is still impossible for Zenon Shinsuke to defeat him this time. He didn't think that Zenon Shinsuke really found a way to break Soda Shirayuki's technique in just 1 month. However, Gojo Ming also has his own caution in his heart. When he saw Zenon Shinsuke holding a weapon wrapped in white cloth, he became more vigilant. The true appearance of this weapon cannot be seen clearly. It can only be seen through the shape of the wrapped white cloth, and the whole thing does not look like a normal neon katana. Is this Zenon Shinsuke's confidence? Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming frowned slightly, but he was not prepared to adjust his previous combat strategy. He was still prepared to copy the previous combat method. Use Soda Shirayuki's technique to kill Zenon Shinsuke as quickly as possible and resolve this battle. So, the moment the battle begins, Gojo Ming directly whispered, Ling Wu, Soda Shirayuki. The light blow in his hand turned into pure white Soda Shirayuki, and the air temperature in the entire dojo dropped instantly. It was as if all the cold air outside the house poured into the dojo at this time. Looking at Soda Shirayuki's pure white blade, everyone present could not take their eyes away. Zenon has already seen Soda Shirayuki twice, but every time he sees Soda Shirayuki, he still feels amazed. The pure white color of Soda Shirayuki represents the silence of all things, and the white ribbon fluttering on the handle of the knife shows Soda Shirayuki's agility. Pure white Zanpakuto. Every time I look at it, I feel that this sword matches Gojo Satoru and Gojo Ming very well. Close black lens bracket. Although it is not as popular as Gojo Satoru's Senbon Sakura, Soda Shirayuki is still more in line with Gojo Naru's calm temperament. Close black lens bracket. A sigh appeared on Zenon's face, and the idea of owning a Zanpakuto became a little heavier in his heart. Except for Zenin, everyone else had either seen Soda Shirayuki's interpretation for the first time, or they had not observed it too carefully before. Therefore, this time was equivalent to their first serious observation of Soda Shirayuki's appearance. Seeing the change in Soda Shirayuki's form, Zenin's heart skipped a beat. With this ability alone, Niobe felt that the Zanpakuto was absolutely extraordinary and should never be what Zenin-shan said. No matter how you look at this gorgeous blade and the chill emanating from the blade, this is a top-notch cursed tool. It's hard to imagine how strong the other two Zanpakutos forged by Gojo Ming, Chingmushi and Senbon Sakura, would be. He already knew that Senbon Sakura became Gojo Satoru's exclusive Zanpakuto, and Gojo's family also bloomed a cherry blossom scene that could cover the entire family that day. He didn't think Gojo Naru would forge a useless Zanpakuto for his brother, so he suspected that Senbon Sakura's power was even greater than Soda Shirayuki's. We still have to look at Soda Shirayuki's technique, the one that once killed Shinsuke instantly. Is Shinsuke sure he has found a way to resist it? Close black lens bracket. The doubts in Zenin's heart were also the doubts in Zenin's heart. However, Zenin's face next to Zenin looked much more confident. His eyes were not attracted by Soda Shirayuki, but focused on the strange weapon in Zenin Shinsuke's hand. He believed that Zenin Shinsuke would win in the end, and then let the Gojo brat apologize to him. The moment Soda Shirayuki appeared, Gojo Ming had already released Moon White. As Gojo Narusode Shirayuki dances, an invisible circle is drawn at Zenin Shinsuke's feet. It only takes 2 more seconds for Zenin Shinsuke to fall into the same situation again. However, the moment Gojo Ming released Yubai, he suddenly saw the smile on Zenin Shinsuke's face. You don't really think that repeated tricks will work on me, do you? Zenin Shinsuke ducked and was already 10 meters away from his original position. While moving, he also said, "Why do you think I am learning swordsmanship during this time? Just to see through your sword swings. It takes time to activate Soda Shirayuki's technique, Moon White. As long as I prepare in advance, your Moon White will not be able to lock me." The moment his voice fell, a huge white circle appeared where he originally stood, and a strong breath of frost froze the columnar range with the circle as the base. But, unfortunately, it was just frozen air. Seeing this scene, the corners of Zenin Shinsuke's mouth raised slightly, feeling that his month of hard work on swordsmanship was worth it. As long as Yubai can't hit him, Soda Shirayuki's first technique will be useless. Zenin Shinsuke's proud smile did not disturb Gojo Ming's mentality. The Moon White was just an appetizer, and he was not prepared to use the Moon White directly to end the battle. At the moment when the White Moon appeared, he had already completed the preliminary preparations for the second dance, White Lien. The frost-like blade had melted into Gojo Ming's feet. Zenin Shinsuke did not notice all this. Next, he will be invincible. There is a hidden Balian to assist him in close combat. As long as Zenin Shinsuke has the courage to get close to him, he will let him taste the power of Balian Snow Waterfall. Zenin Sheer has a strong body and unparalleled reflexes, so he was able to pull away the moment Bai Lian was released. However, Zenin Shinsuke is just an ordinary Jujutsu master, and there is no way he can have the extraordinary reflexes of Tenyo Tyrant. Therefore, in Gojo Ming's view, Zenin Shinsuke, who is currently rushing towards him and preparing to fight him in close combat, is seeking his own death. The moment Zenin Shinsuke approached him, Gojo Ming waved Soda Shirayuki directly, and a powerful snow waterfall spurted out from Soda Shirayuki. This scene made Zenin's immediate neighbors change their expressions. The previous Yubai had already made him feel the terror of Soda Shirayuki's technique. At this time, this second technique, Bai Lian, made him feel even greater pressure. Is this Soda Shirayuki's technique? Everyone present, except Zenin, saw Bai Lian in person for the first time. It is difficult for them to imagine how Zenin Shinsuke should respond to this kind of magic that is like an avalanche of natural disasters. Do you mean to carry it with your body? Zenin and Zenin both stared at Zenin Shinsuke. They wanted to know if Zenin Shinsuke had any way to resist Soda Shirayuki's second technique. Bai Lian's aura emerged, and Zenin Shinsuke's expression was equally calm at this time. He was not frightened by Bai Lian's power. Because it had failed once before, Zenin Shinsuke put a lot of thought into the investigation of Gojo Naru and Soda Shirayuki. Currently, Zanpakuto Soda Shirayuki only has 3 victories. The first time was the battle with Gojo Shunichi after Soda Shirayuki was forged for the first time. In that battle, it was also the first time Soda Shirayuki broke out the technique Moon White. The second battle was a confrontation with himself. It was also Yubai, and he was instantly frozen by Yubai. The third time was when Sheer took the initiative to find Gojo Ming. There were no outsiders in that battle, so the Zenin family had not observed it up close. However, he learned from other aspects that Soda Shirayuki also had a second technique, White Ripple, and the close range and indiscriminate snowfall attack was Gojo Ming's trump card. Therefore, if he wants to defeat Gojo Ming and Soda Shirayuki, he must deal with the threat Bailian poses to him. As long as Bai Lian is not destroyed, Gojo Ming will always be in an invincible position. If you can't get close, you will only be consumed by Gojo Ming. So, he chose this premium cursed tool. Because of the existence of this special cursed tool, he chose to take the initiative to get close to Gojo Ming and give Gojo Ming a chance to release Bai Lian. The battle is over. Based on Zenin's experience, Zenin Shinsuke cannot avoid Bai Lian's attack. As long as he is hit by Bai Lian, Zenin Shinsuke will lose his fighting ability. In a flash of lightning, everyone else came up with this idea. However, only Gojo Ming during the battle realized something strange about Zenin Shinsuke. Zenin Shinsuke's expression was too calm, as if he had been prepared for it. If he knew Bai Lian's ability, why did Zenin Shinsuke take the initiative to approach him? Could it be said that Zenin Shinsuke has a way to resist Bai Lian? Gojo Ming frowned slightly, his eyes fixed on the alien weapon in Zenin Shinsuke's hand. Because the two were very close at this time, Gojo Ming vaguely saw the shape of the weapon wrapped under the white cloth. This is... Gojo Ming raised his eyebrows slightly, and there was a suspicion in his heart. At the same time, he directly raised his sleeves and snow on his chest, making a defensive posture. No one knows why Gojo Ming chose to defend when he had all the advantages. It is clear that Zenin Shinsuke will lose the ability to resist under Bai Lian's attack next. It was obvious that Gojo Ming should pursue him more at this time. The next second, everyone realized something was wrong. Bai Lian's snow waterfall continued to spray, but Zenin Shinsuke's movements had no effect. Still approaching Gojo Ming quickly. At this time, they discovered that Soda Shirayuki's technique was actually split in the middle by Zenin Shinsuke. At this time, Zenin Shinsuke was in the snow waterfall created by Bai Lian, as if he was in a deserted land. And the reason for all this is the weapon in Zenin Shinsuke's hand. Special grade cursed tool, Tenibo. Unexpectedly, Zenin Shinsuke actually prepared Tenibobo in advance. Did this thing already exist at this time? So, why Ji-er got the Tenibobo in the future? Was it because of the Zenin family? Close black lens bracket. Tenibobo can forcibly cancel all spells. In the original world line, Zenin's special weapon was also the weapon that almost killed the Six-Eyes son of Gojo. Gojo Ming did not expect that in this world line, Gojo Satoru had not had the opportunity to experience the power of Tenihoko, so he would have to taste it before him. No wonder Zenin Shinsuke is so confident. It turns out to be because he is holding the Teniboho, so he doesn't feel panic, right? Gojo Ming was complaining in his heart, but in the next second, he was knocked away by Zenin Shinsuke's attack. Although he had predicted this attack in advance and used Soda Shirayuki to block it in advance, this attack still caused him some chest pain. This is the strength of the special grade cursed tool Tenibobo. Seeing Zenin Shinsuke holding the Tenihoko that looked more like a fork, everyone watching the battle realized how powerful the Tenihoko was. However, what all Zenin people are more concerned about is, when did Zenin Shinsuke obtain this special skill cursed tool from Jiku? Obviously only you have the authority to open the Jiku. Could it be said that Zenin Shinsuke has other powers and can use Tenibo? Although he was concerned about this, Zenin Naobi's attention was still focused on Tenihaho. In appearance, Tenibobo's appearance is far inferior to that of Soda Shirayuki, but from an effect point of view, Teniboho has the upper hand. The strength of Tenibo seems to be a bit higher. After all, Teniho allows Zenin Shinsuke to take advantage from a disadvantage. This idea appears in most people's hearts. Gojo Naru and Soda Shirayuki should lose. They couldn't imagine how Soda Shirayuki, who had no magic skills, could compete with Zenin Shinsuke, who was holding a special grade cursed tool. In their eyes, doesn't Gojo Naru just rely on Sota Shirayuki's technique to fight against Zenin Shinsuke? Now, without Sota Shirayuki's technique, how can Gojo Ming compete with Zenin Shinsuke? When everyone thought the overall situation was decided, only Zenin still had a smile on his face. After getting along with him for a period of time, he knew that Gojo Ming's strength was not just Sota Shirayuki's technique. The taijutsu he taught these days, and the kendo taught by Gojo Shunichi before, were all quickly absorbed by Gojo Ming in a very strange way. Admit defeat, Gojo Ming. Zenin Shinsuke holds the Teniboho, and he is full of confidence. He also felt that the overall situation was settled. Without the magic, Sota Shirayuki was nothing more than a hard weapon. As soon as he finished speaking, Zenin Shinsuke moved closer to Gojo Ming. Although he is a jujutsu master, Zenin Shinsuke's taijutsu is second only to Zenin Shinji among his peers in the entire Zenin family. Therefore, he did not choose to use the technique, but chose to carry out a close attack with the Tenibo. After all, no one knows whether Gojo Ming will give him another snowfall of Soba Shirayuki once he lets go of Tenibobo. Admit defeat. Are you kidding me? Gojo Ming rubbed his chest, gently shook Sota Shirayuki, and shook off the frost and snow armor that had just resisted Tenibobo's attack, and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. You don't think that my swordsmanship and physical skills are weak, do you? Gojo Naru directly held Sota Shirayuki to face Zenin Shinsuke. Dang dang, dang dang. The sound of the collision of gold and iron showed that the two people were equally matched at this moment. No one would have thought that at the age of 6, Gojo Ming would have extraordinary levels of physical skills and kendo. Moreover, Sota Shirayuki, who has no technique, can actually compete with the special grade cursed tool Tenibobo in terms of strength. Zenin Shinsuke, who bullies the small with his big one, was unable to quickly take down Gojo Ming, who had no technique. This kind of thing was something Zenin Shan didn't expect. He stole the authority of Zenin Naobi to bring Zenin Shinsuke Tenibo, but he never thought that the battle would still reach a stalemate. It seems that he still underestimated Gojo Ming. Zenin Shinsuke, who was in the center of the battle, could feel the pressure put on him by Gojo Ming. He couldn't understand why Gojo Ming was only 6 years old, but his understanding of kendo was already far beyond that of ordinary people. If someone had told him that Gojo Ming was now a sword master, he would not have doubted it at all. Because in the process of fighting with weapons, Zenin Shinsuke did not take any advantage. Just in the physical combat, he caught a few flaws and disrupted Gojo Ming's offensive. However, Zenin Shinsuke will not be satisfied with this result. I am older than Gojo Ming and have more combat experience. Such a result is not what I want at all. At this moment, he is ready to release his magic. He is a level 2 Jujutsu Master certified by the Jujutsu Masters Association, and his fighting skills are the basis of his fighting skills. Zenin Shinsuke's technique is also very special, allowing him to shuttle back and forth among shadows. When developed to the extreme, he can even control his own shadow to fight. Although it is not as good as the 10 shadow spells inherited from the Zenin family, it can be regarded as a variant of shadow spells. At the moment of making a decision, Zenin formed a seal with one hand and prepared to release the technique. Seeing this scene, Gojo Ming stepped forward directly. He also realized that it was time to decide the winner. Zenin Shinsuke's close attack is not too strong. As long as he interrupts the release process of Zenin Shinsuke's technique, he will win directly. However, what surprised Gojo Ming was that Zenin Shinsuke was actually able to hold the Teni Hoko to perform magic spells. Could it be that the effect of Tenibobo has no effect on Zenin Shinsuke's own technique? The next second, Gojo Ming saw Tianibo being held directly by a black shadow and slashing towards him. He couldn't dodge, so he could only block it with Sota Shirayuki. The moment he landed, 2 more shadows clenched their fists and hit him. Are you boxing with shadow? Gojo Ming feels that Zenin Shinsuke's jujutsu skills are very amazing. No wonder Zenin Shinsuke can become the strongest jujutsu master of the younger generation of the Zenin family. How could the Zenin family not cultivate such a mutated shadow spell after seeing it? However, why in the original work, Zenin Shinsuke, who possesses this kind of variant shadow spell, has no sound? Gojo Ming no longer had the energy to distract himself from thinking about these issues. As Zenin Shinsuke gets closer, the intensity of the shadow attack becomes higher and higher. Now, he can only barely resist it with all his strength. If this continues, under the influence of Zenin Shinsuke's technique, it seems that he will only lose. After all, at this moment, Zenin Shinsuke still did not give up his vigilance, and still forcibly used the power of magic to control the shadow to control Tenibo, and he was wrongly fighting Soda Shirayuki. He will not give Gojo Ming a chance to release Bai Lian again. It's over. Gojo Ming lost. Zenin fans' eyes were full of amusement. Under Teniboho's attacks, Gojo Ming seemed to be retreating steadily, and it seemed that the overall situation was decided. How dare a mere fake Six Eyes ignore him on the Zenin family's home court? Fortunately, I had the foresight and was prepared by Zenin Shinsuke in advance. No matter how mysterious a Zanpakuto like Soda Shirayuki is, hasn't it turned into an ordinary weapon in front of the special cursed tool? Gojo's 6 eyes, let's just get trampled into the mud at Zenin's house. Shensuke is indeed the most talented person of the younger generation of the Zenin family. The Shadow Synergy spell can also be regarded as the Zenin family's shadow spell. It's a pity that it is not the 10 shadow spells. Otherwise, Shinsuke should be able to win more easily. Close black lens bracket. If Shinsuke can really defeat Gojo Naru, then I will let it go for the time being that he secretly uses Tenibo. Close black lens bracket. Although Zenin was shocked by Soda Shirayuki's power, after seeing the effect of Tenibo on Soda Shirayuki, the importance he attached to the Zanpakuto was slightly reduced. However, even so, the Zanpakuto is already considered a strategic weapon. However, because of Gojo Ming's disadvantage in this battle, the Zenin people were no longer prepared to pay such a high price to exchange with the Gojo family. As for Zenin Shinsuke, he was even more satisfied in his heart. He had already imagined Gojo Ming falling under his Teni Hoko. This time, he had been carefully preparing for so long, just to prove that the Zenin family was no weaker than the Gojo family. If Gojo Satoru, the real son of 6 Eyes, can still convince him, then this blacksmith who can only forge weapons, the fake 6 Eyes of the Gojo family, only deserves to be stepped on by him. Zanpakuto Soda Shirayuki, a monkey like Gojo Ming, who has no magical power at all, is not worthy of possessing such a weapon. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.